Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
I'm Will Leggetter.
And today is our penultimate Mad Men episode, Will.
It is, yes.
Now, you ended season 5. Our rankings, we put Faraway Places at number 1 and Commission followed by Commissions and Fees. Unfortunately, the Lane suicide episode, very sad. Season 5 ends on a very, very sad note and very dour, with the glimpse that Don may go back into his adultery. However, for as big a character change as that was, the biggest character change of season 5 was you confessing to me that you're happy that I made you watch Mad Men. Has that happiness continued, Will, into season 6?
Season 6 is a season I'd rewatched, Tom.
Really?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like, I mean, you could include, it depends what season 7 is like, but 5, 6, and 7 feel to me like revisited ones, whereas it's almost as if it's become bigger than what it started out as, and the writers realized we can put these characters in other places than an office.
Yes, I see what you mean. For me, I think that sort of change comes, I think for me it's season 4, 5, 6. Not just the obvious change of office, but yeah, I think, well, I believe behind the scenes wise, season 5, 6, and 7, there was like a big break in between season 4 and season 5. And Matthew Weiner was trying to organize it and trying to, get a good deal. And basically he just wanted complete creative control and a lock that he was allowed 3 more seasons. Yeah. And so he got that. And so, I mean, all these show creators always say, I always knew the final scene. I always knew how it was going to end. This time I do believe it. Season 5, 6, 7 does feel so complete as we're coming to the end. I mean, we'll talk about the ending in a week's time or whatever. I can't remember when we're recording it, but I've never met. I don't want to big it up. I've never met anybody who hasn't liked the ending.
I'm looking forward to the ending. Not that's not a snide comment about it ending.
No. No. The even she who shall not be named, my ex, who hates. Well, no, we'll have this conversation next week. But I thought, she's gonna be like the Grand National. She's gonna fall at the last hurdle. She's gonna hate the ending, and even she liked it. So, and you met her, so you know how vindictive.
Yeah. Haha.
Oh.
Another thing I'll add, it's remarkable how quickly you forget about Lane.
Yeah.
I haven't. The word Lane didn't come into my mind since we last met. I just completely forgot he existed.
Yeah, and then you get sort of when they're trying to figure out the name.
Yeah,
and then it's like 2 of them are dead. And you go, oh yeah, Lane. Yeah. Which is that sort of thing of life moving on. I know I ruined for you when we did season 3. I ruined for you that Sal was never going to come back.
Yeah,
and I think in many ways that sort of is emblematic of the Lane thing, and also it's emblematic of all of 1968. 1968, the doorway ends with Don reading the newspaper. New York bids adieu to a violent year. Obviously, the irony being, little did they know it was going to be one of the most violent years in not just New York history, American history. MLK, Bobby Kennedy, the Chicago. Anybody who watched the trial of the Chicago 7 this year, that was all this year. This was all happening. The Watts riots, just a big turbulent year.
I think, to be honest, the biggest crime of this era, though, are the haircuts.
But again, everybody's changing. Even Roger has some sideburns. Who hasn't changed their hair?
Donald Draper.
Donald Draper. He just immovable. He's adamantine. There's a great bit in the end of Network where they talk about how somebody won't change their opinion. And they go, I would describe his stance as immovable and adamantine. And that's always stuck with me. And yeah, because Don just isn't changing. Even, Pete's losing his hair, he's balding.
Yeah, aren't we all?
So apparently somebody told me the other day that we get our hair genes from the mother's side. And I'm hoping that's true because my father has a great head and he looks great, but he is slightly balding, whereas my mother's father has thick, bushy hair to this day.
Yes, yeah, both, yeah, that's good because that side has hair. I said both sides. I've not got a single bald member of the family, but my father is slowly converting to become a monk.
Bald member. You do want a bald member. You don't want a hairy one. Oh no. Oh my. So what really worked with you this season? But Will, at what was it? Did you rewatch the entire thing, or were there episodes that you jumped back into?
Sure. I really felt very close to Don this series. I thought the characters were expertly written this series. I love how Pete is becoming Pete again.
Yes.
Pete's probably the standout of this series for me.
Pete and Bob Benson.
Yes. Oh, with the car. Oh, what a duo! What a comedy duo. And I think is it? Obviously I've not seen series 7 as of yet, but I would say this is their most experimental season.
Yes, but also it doesn't feel like going through the motions. Okay, let's do an experimental episode. It's 1968, and
exactly, yeah.
So, for as much as the show goes on, it loses some of that 50s magic. That sort of Will, I presume you're in on a rewatch within the year or whatever, but going back to season 1 is insane. After I've done it a couple of times.
As in difficult, or it's just a culture shock.
It's just insane. John Hamm looks so young, and I've once done it of watching the final episode and then just going, I might just watch the pilot again, and it is maddening. And but again, it just shows how far we've gone, and it is a whole decade. It is a whole decade that we see.
Real time, yeah.
The next season, we get the moon landing, and it's done for 69. We don't see the 70s. But I think I've mentioned it before. There's a line where Pete in the next season goes, he's talking to somebody and he goes, blah, 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 by 1980. And you just go, oh my God, these people are going to be alive in 1980, and you can't even imagine it. What are the big things do we need to discuss before we sort of get into the nitty gritty of it? Your famous, I say famous, Will sends messages to me and this week, it was, by the way, I hate Sylvia. At what point did you hate Sylvia?
It's an interesting one because it was this episode, which is really one of my highest rated episodes, but it was when they were getting very, very sensual together.
Was it Man with a Plan?
It was indeed. And I just thought, it's not that I think, no one can argue with, I know her as Velma.
Yes, Linda Cardellini. Yes, people also may know her as half of the reason she's forgetting Sarah Marshall. She is Sarah Marshall. She was the real life person that Jason Siegel was dating, who left him, and she is Sarah Marshall.
Oh, she is excellent. But I just don't like it. I don't like the fact that Don's doing his things again. I don't like it, and it ruins things. I don't like extramarital intercourse.
Which brings us to this point. Why do we care so much that Don's cheating with Sylvia now? When, again, those first seasons, it's a bit fun, it's a bit seedy. We love Rachel. We love Rachel Mencken. We think, okay, yeah, leave Betty. And it's Rachel that goes, you don't want to run away with me, you just want to run away. And I think it's because we like Megan.
I think it's not it's partly because we like Megan, but it's the fact that we've been on this journey with Don, and we know that he's happy with Megan, whereas we joined him and Betty at the falling apart stage. We never saw the beginning when she made him really happy. So we're like, oh, this is the first person that we've learned makes him really happy.
And when we do see that, it's in a flashback in, I think it's season 4, or no, sorry, it's season 2. Yeah. And it's him remembering coming to Anna and going, and yeah, as you say, the bliss on his face of, she's wonderful, she's a model. And you go, oh yeah, it's Betty. And also this season we have a bit of a rekindling of the Don Betty, which
I very much enjoy.
Yes, the moment that Betty leaves the door open is an iconic moment. This also has one of the great memed moments of the show. Not Great Bob is not only one of the funniest line deliveries of all time, but it is one of the big memes in the Mad Men community. How are you? Not great, Bob.
That whole scene where he follows him into the lift. Oh, it's great.
Pete, this you're right. This is a great season for Pete. He also has the iconic GIF moment of falling down the stairs.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Him going down the stairs is sublime.
Yeah, and also we get a bit of. It's one of those things where it's balancing all the things that we love, and yeah, they're getting back into a rhythm. Roger's a bit more of a cad this season. He's doing quite well, but also Doorway. He's so good in Doorway, coming to terms with his mother's death and all the psychiatry, and I feel nothing. I just don't care. I feel nothing, and obviously this all culminates with him wanting to get to know Kevin better. Yeah, because his own daughter, I'll say, she's a fucking brat. And he gives her he comes to her with the water of the River of Jordan, and she leaves it on the table. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll take it. No, phenomenal season, I have to say. Got an awful lot to talk about, so let's just get into it. Will, again, none of these cuts are cuts really, but what did you cut?
So we're only cutting 2, aren't we? Because I've classed
always
2 again as lovely. So, well, I've actually cut collaborators and to have and to hold.
Okay, they're not my cuts, so we'll talk about everything.
Yeah.
My cuts were the quality of mercy and the better half. Again, these are not cuts. This is just the way in which they've fallen. So we'll talk about to have and to hold now, because that was one of your cuts. That's my number 10, also known as the swinging episode. What did we think of Megan this season? Do we by the end of season 5, I remember you talking about how you liked Megan now.
Oh yeah, well, we like Megan.
And yeah, well, the Doorway plays so brilliantly because it basically does the twist of the pilot again, of this whole time you're thinking something's happening, and then he comes home to Betty and he comes home to Sylvia, and the reveal of Sylvia, I guess it's not, I guess you could notice pretty early on, oh wait, that's Velma, that's Linda Cardellini. They can't have just hired her for a fondue party, but you never know. But no, I think she's excellent in this season. But to have and to hold, you kiss people for money. Do you know who does that? Just the maybe the cruelest, bitterest, worst moment Don's ever had. To the arguing with Megan and then going straight to Sylvia is abominable.
Yeah.
And there is no way around it. And he is so bitter and so twisted about it. And he's just using her as a stress toy. But of course, it does work so well. And also, for as much as we don't really talk about Lane this season, the hovering of Herb Rennett's and Jaguar and Joan's prostitution hangs heavily over the first half. Especially in this episode, I haven't told, with Harry coming in and saying,
"Yeah,
where did you stand on Harry coming in?" And
I've always liked Harry.
Yeah.
I know people don't like him, but I think he's just a bit of a. He's a dick. He's a bit of a. I'd invite him to a party because he just sits there and makes observational comedic comments the whole time.
There's always. See, this is the thing. Your immediate go-to reaction when he bursts in and he starts talking about it is like, well, I deserve to be here. You know, I made my achievements in the light, not in the dark. And I think my immediate go-to reaction is how horrible. Joan's right there. And also Meredith's right there, the ditzy secretary. Hello, there's a plane here to see you. And she's there. So now she knows, and maybe that rumor gets spread about. But then I think, I don't like Harry, but he's got a point. He has made this television department something special, and it is later on in the season. I think it's the Hershey's pitch. They talk about how they're specialized in TV as an agency, so that clearly has become one of their big things. And perhaps it's not fair that Harry still hasn't got his say. And
I think he does suffer the worst from the haircut dilemma in this season.
He does have bad hair. But then he pulls it off in LA.
He does.
This is a delightful little episode for Joan and her friend, just going about it. Very nice. Again, Joan flirting a little bit. But it doesn't really come to anything, and she's just trying to balance. I think Joan's tired of it. I think Joan's a bit past her flirtatious years and the playgirl years. And I think at this point, she's possibly looking to settle down, but she's already got the child. Then Bob comes on the scene. We'll talk about this now. Does Joan... So obviously Bob is gay. And is a bit of a gal pal with Joan. Does Joan know?
I think Joan clearly knows. I think she definitely knows, and I don't think she's taking advantage of that because obviously he's really helpful with her life. I think
and the appendix earlier in the season.
Yeah, she's really grateful to have this friend that she can talk to. I really like the dynamic. I think
I do, yeah. And then obviously we have the lovely Moon River moment at the end of the season when she lets Roger come in for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. And he's just there carving them.
Bob Bunsen. Love Bob. Love Bob Benson.
Great. Bob's great.
So obviously it's always looming. What was your impression of Bob this season? What did you think was going to come of Bob?
I don't really know. I thought something would culminate because his way of approaching things is kill with kindness. And I thought he would wind Pete up so far by not really doing anything, but Pete would just take offense. I think, that happened. But,
also this episode, obviously, Peggy episode, the Heinz pitch and the double Heinz pitch and all that comes with that. And listening in, Don listening in, a sign of weakness, and Peggy using his own line in her own pitch. If you don't like what people are saying, change the conversation. Is it just me that I thought that Don's advertisement was so much better?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But he wanted the
even,
bottle.
even the pictures, even the pictures.
But they wanted the bottle, and of
They
course, you just appeal to the client.
Clients.
Clients.
As,
But
as an architect, we don't like clients. No, we do. We love. Please,
please hire us.
please give me a job.
But obviously, it really doesn't matter who's got what, because 2 episodes down the line, things are going to change,
Yeah.
as we will find out. To have and to hold. Next, we have what was your number 10, Rob?
My number 10 was episode number 10, A Tale of Two Cities.
Tale of Two Cities. I've got that at 7, so we'll wait on that one a little. Directed by John Slattery, directed 2 episodes this season, and John Hamm directed 1. We'll get to those when we get there. Your number 9, Will?
My number 9 was For Immediate Release.
I've got that high.
Yes.
So we will hold
It's
off.
also high on IMDb, which worries me.
Hold off on that one. I've got it at number 9, The Flood.
The Flood. I might have that quite. I have that very high.
Okay. At number 8, you have?
Just gonna keep naming them. At number 8, I've got Favors.
I've got oh my God! It's finally happened.
Did we get the same?
Ding, ding, ding.
Number 8. Hey.
Favors at number 8. The problem is, though, when it's a lockdown at number 8, then we end up anyway. We'll get there when we get there. It's a lock. So for those of you who don't listen to our normal TV episodes, when we have the same thing at the same thing, it gets locked in immediately, and it's immovable.
Terrible system, but we've been doing it too long now.
It just adds a bit of tension. Oh my God! At what point did you realise what was going to happen?
I need to cut. Sorry, I blanked.
That's all right. Sylvia, Don, Sally.
Oh, yes.
So we're in the taxi, and her friend Julie says that she's left a letter. Okay, wait. Then she runs back and she gets the keys. Okay, but wait. And then she goes into the elevator and she goes in, sees a letter, and then suddenly there's this, what can only be described as orgasmic moaning.
They couldn't have picked a worse time for her to walk. He was completely astride. It was
I think it's Working Girl. And in the script of Working Girl, Melanie Griffith walks in an Alec Baldwin with another girl. It's like one of the first scenes. And they were workshopping it. And then Mike Nichols and the actress just said, what if we were just both completely naked and she was just sat on top of me? And there was just no possible way around it. And yeah, that is, and then obviously just a horrific moment, banging the mattress. Because they'd stopped. Yeah. They managed to stop it. He was a bit forlorn in the crash and he listens in on her, but it was done. 3 episodes had passed. We'd not necessarily forgotten, but it was done with. And he gets him in. Do we think that Don was getting him out of Vietnam for the sex? Or do you think that was just, we had a nice time, I'm going to do this for you, I have the means to do it? Or was it favors? Was he doing it for sex?
It's a difficult one because actually he has this addiction, but I don't think it was for the sex. I think with Don, things always start with good intentions and then just collapse, which is,
Well, he's not calling for her, is he? He's calling for Arnold.
Yeah.
A big winner for this season. Just terrible, unfortunate cuckolding of Arnold.
Again, Arnold.
Also, Arnold, just that was the peak of the doorway. Don's got a friend. Maybe he's got Roger, but he's never had a friend before. Like a real nice friend that he can, he's ploughing the wife. He's been ploughing the wife for months. Don, what are you doing? Giving a man a camera does not mean you can rail his wife in the maid's room. We will get to the doorway. Well, this is also, before we get back to the big don of it all, of course, this is the Bob Benson touch of the knee reveal.
Yes.
Just a beautifully handled moment, exceptionally well acted. Just all that's needed, just that. Just very, very, very well made. Excellent, Vincent Carruthers. We keep saying Bob. I want to give him a name. What is Bob Benson's name? James Wolk. Just very, very good in the scene. With also not the introduction, but the reintroduction of Peter's mother, now with dementia, and in this episode, Manolo is on the scene, and she is pleasuring. So, do we think that Manolo is actually having sex, or do we think, I don't know, he's given her a massage and it's excited her?
I don't think there's any sex.
Yeah. But then they do get married. But is that just for the money? And
I think that's for the convenience and also just to be there. I think he's a lovely carer.
Well, I mean, he does push her off a boat.
It's never proved.
Allegedly pushes her off a boat.
We know Pete hopes he pushed her off a boat, but
it's just that look between the brothers of it won't bring her back. An investigation will be very expensive. But beyond that, let's go back to Sally and Don and Sylvia. I mean, and this is the big sign of what's to come with Don this end of season. And also, we've talked about it many episodes and many seasons now, how exceptional an actress Kierna Ship can grow up into. I mean, you can see it from season 1, really, if you look, but so fortunate, especially with the 5 Bobbies. I mean, I like this Bobby. I like season 5, 6, 7 Bobby. Bobby, baby, Bobby. I mean, great joke in the better half. I'm Bobby 5. I wish they said I'm Bobby 4, but I think that might be too wink.
Was that definite, to the audience? That's what. As soon as you said it, that's what I saw it as.
It's got to be. I think they're not saying Bobby 4 because they don't want it to completely upend. But great joke. Great.
Or maybe there was an intermediate Bobby that we never saw. It's just got a screen test.
But I like this Bobby. This Bobby is so great. He has 2 of the knockout lines of the season. In The Crash, are we Negroes? And in Planet of the Apes, when he goes to see Planet of the Apes and he's talking to the black theatre attendant after the MLK assassination, and he, people always like to go to the movies when they're sad. So just those sort of.
Have you just seen Don?
He's like,
yeah.
It's like he's going to grow up into. He's going to be a Don. He's going to be a Don. Also, do you think? Oh no, I did actually. I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood twice in one day because I was going to America and I knew I'd have to start paying for cinema. Anyway, because I have a Cineworld Unlimited card. But the watching of Planet of the Apes, I always forget. If you don't watch Planet of the Apes twice that month, you'll never see. In their mind, they will never see Planet of the Apes again for another 20 years until it's on TV.
Oh yeah, you've got to see it.
You watch a movie and then you're like, oh, that was great. Let's go watch that again next week and the week after, and then maybe in 15 years we'll watch a shitty black and white version on a tiny screen. But yes, just I was comforting Mrs. Rose and so painful.
Oh yeah, interesting. That was his excuse. I mean, what can you say, really? But
yeah. I mean, because and also I think he knows.
Do you think he told Megan, or does Megan know?
No, not at all. Which is what kicks Sally off, because Megan is so enamored with him being a nice guy, and she goes over to kiss him. Oh, you're wonderful. And then you make me sick. And Sally storms out, and then Julie and Megan are sat there, and Julie goes, she fancies, and that's what they just think that all this is about. They think, oh, she's just a little girl sad about a crush. They have no idea. Do you think Sally will tell anybody?
Glenn?
Probably. Do you think Sally would tell Betty if it was season 3 and she was whatever? Well, no, because she'd be older, younger, whatever. Do you think Sally would tell her mother if she saw Don sleeping with somebody during their Betty marriage?
No.
No.
Because she's scared of her mother.
Yeah, that's another fact. Yeah, I mean, Christ.
I would never speak up against.
Yes, we do get Slim Betty back by the end of this season. She makes a pit stop at the worst hair salon in the world on the way. Why would you? There's a line in Legally Blonde where she wants to become a brunette, and the Irish lady, she's not Irish, but the lady that sings Ireland, who runs the hair salon, goes, "You're a natural. You can't change this. You're a natural, whatever. You look great." Anyway, favors. That's what I was going to talk about with Pete's mom. The great moment where she mistakes Peggy for Trudy and the child you have together. And Peggy's break in her voice of what is so beautifully done. Elizabeth Moss is excellent in this season. Somebody we haven't talked about yet, Ted Shaw and
Yes.
Cutler. What do we think of Cutler, Gleason, and Shaw? Will? Pardon me.
Which one's the tall one who's more of
Roger.
a partner?
Who's like Roger?
Yeah.
That's Harry Hamlin playing Jim Cutler.
He's an interesting character.
Yeah, I like Jim Cutler, I have to say.
I like him, but he comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden he's got all this authority and it's weird. But I think they're all great additions.
Yeah, Ted. Obviously, Ted's been about since season 2, 3. He comes to, I think it's season 3 because he comes to Pete giving birth. Swings by with some. He comes to Pete giving birth. Oh, not great, Mark. Favors our first lock-in ever. Number 7, I Have a Tale of Two Cities, which is your 10, so let's talk about it now. Yeah. Directed by John Slattery.
So I never like the ones that John directs.
Yes, you don't. Even though there's some of the best ones. We're going to LA. But before we go to LA, let's stay in New York. Joan tries to worm her way in. Joan wants to make a go of it. And she brings Peggy in. But she can't do it yet. She's not that great in this field. And so all we want is for Joan to, okay, I'm going to make a big push on Avon and I'm going to win. I'm going to be so great at it that they're going to have to look at me in a different way. Which she doesn't have that skill set yet. And it's so bitter. And also, she brings Peggy into it and all that. And it's not great over in New York. But sisters are doing it for themselves. Peggy helps her out at the end. What did we think of Peggy and Ted? That's sort of an ongoing thing. I don't know where we'll bring that up in an episode. But what did we think of the Peggy-Ted relationship?
Is that a clue for next season?
No, it's a big thing this season.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Obviously, it came to a very interesting end. But it felt like I feel sorry for them both because obviously it's difficult for Ted, but also it felt like she really did like him, and all of a sudden he's off, and that was her one chance of getting back together.
Yeah, I think it's the end of The Better Half, where she's literally caught in between Don and Ted in that final beautiful episode, beautiful shot, and there's always something that to remind me. Strikes up, and because Abe's left her after she stabbed him.
That was great. That one bit plummeted the episode very high up. It's great.
And they break up in the van.
Yeah.
And she comes to Ted and she's, Abe left me. And all she wants is him to say, okay, I'll leave my wife, let's do it. And no, he's like, no, come on, it's Monday, cheer up. Big week of business. The worst thing you could ever go about saying. There we go. This is our second of the season, big drug-fueled episode. This time Don takes some hashish, takes the 8th nipple. And what's Don's biggest dream? It's a pregnant Megan who's not an actress anymore. And then obviously sees himself drowning, imagines himself dead. Yeah. And we've had flirtations with suicide the whole show. Very dark, even if it's not suicide, this Don reckoning with death. Obviously, season 5 ends with You Only Live Twice, which of course he has lived twice. Perhaps in the future, I don't know, he'll make another identity or whatever. We'll see what comes of that. I'm trying to get back into the mindset of all the sort of conspiracy, all the sort of theories before we knew everything. So like people thought that Bob may have been a CIA guy hidden to try and get the real Dick Whitman. Obviously, Bob is a Dick Whitman, as we find out. Yes, when Duck Phillip comes along, he's sober again now, drinking milk, and he tells him, no. There's might as well be written in steam. He's made everything up. He used to be a manservant for a politician. He used to take him around on a cruise, that's that. So it comes that. But yes, in LA, we meet good old what's his name? Damn it. Danny again. Good old Danny Siegel, played by Danny Strong. Good old Danny Siegel, who is now rocking the Paul Simon Annie Hall look.
Yeah.
And he looks great. And Roger a bit out of his place. I don't understand how I'm not getting this beautiful woman when this tiny weed guy is. But also, it's all bullshit. I'm going to pretend like I'm a culture. I'm going to pretend I'm a hippie. But that's the guy from Warner Brothers, and that's the guy who took over Paramount. You know, it's all just bullshit. It's all business. Harry likes to make out as if he's, I'm the king of LA. But also, it's all business. It's all business. But yeah, the peak of this episode for me, the peak of the season, maybe. Well, here we go. Big thing with this season is the reintroduction in the drug sequence of the guy you met in Hawaii, the Vietnam guy who they got the wrong lighter and mixed that up. He's lost one of the big things that he had left of the real Don Draper. Tries to throw it away, but it comes back. It's almost haunted, and it's that thing of you didn't get your arm back. My wife thinks I'm missing, but I'm actually dead, and so cold and so frightening. And then obviously you don't get your arm back. He goes, dying doesn't make you whole. You should see what you look like. And laughing, just what you're talking about earlier on, that expertly written. Might as well just give up. You're never going to write anything as good as some of the stuff in this. But
thanks.
No, I'm not about myself.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Both of us, let's be honest. A Tale of Two Cities, great episode.
Great Roger as well on the airplane. That felt like 100% Roger.
And great sailing outfit. I love it when it's like when the Three Sundays episode from season 2, where they come in, where they have to come in on a Sunday, and Pete's wearing that ridiculous short shorts and tennis outfit, and it feels like they're just never going to realize that maybe you shouldn't wear sailing outfits and a nice. I mean, Don looks incredible in that cream suit. Wow. But we move on. Your number 7, Will.
My number 7 is the doorways.
The doorways. I have that up a little.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Number 6, I have Man with a Plan.
Number 6, I have The Quality of Mercy.
Okay, so that was one of my cuts. We'll talk about that now.
Yeah.
And then we will do our little midway rundowns, and then we'll talk about every episode of the show because we've got a complete. We'll see what comes of it. The Quality of Mercy. You're a monster. Peggy at the end.
Oh. I think again talking to me.
Favors, he loses Sally. Quality of Mercy, he loses Peggy. These are arguably the two most important women in his life. Megan and Betty fit in there somewhere, but it's not going great in either case. Although it is arguably going. Who do you think he holds dearer, Betty or Megan?
Betty, purely because she looks after his kids.
Yeah. 10 years versus 2.
Whereas he could leave Megan right now. How hard that could be, and he'd still be in really good terms with Betty.
Arguably better terms with Betty. This is the thing. The end of season 4, when they're in the house alone, I do think if Don waits a minute on the Megan news, Betty makes a pass and says, "Let's try again." I really do. I've always thought it. But obviously better half. Here we are. Well, the divorce. I mean, Don doesn't want it. I think Don would have stayed married to Betty for the rest of his life. After 20 more years, he'd have slowed down maybe. And in many ways, they're perfect for each other. But it's one of those things. The Quality of Mercy. Yeah, Peggy and Ted just having a laugh riot all the time. Oh, ha, 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 ha. Oh, ha, 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 ha. Obviously, they catch each other at Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
Have you seen Rosemary's Baby, Will?
I haven't seen Rosemary's Baby. I know you like to joke about it a lot.
It's a great joke. Oh, hello on Broadway, John Mulaney. Literally the exact same humor as me. It's like when Mia Farrow had that demon child. Rosemary's Baby? No, Sun Yi. Very funny joke, even if it's morally untrue.
I was about to say, is that the first time we've mentioned Woody Allen? But no, we dedicated a month.
6 episodes. 6 glorious. The Quality of Mercy. Cough vodka in the orange juice. Not what you need. I mean, it is what you need. A screwdriver now. Also,
after this,
Ken getting shot in the face with a shotgun. This is a great episode. I don't know why I cut it. Well, as I say, none of these are cuts. I mean, Ken getting shot in the face with a shotgun and coming to the end of Chevy. Can't do Chevy anymore. I'm not going to get shot in the face again.
Detroit doesn't sound very nice.
It's not. Famously, Detroit's terrible. RoboCop. They had to make RoboCop to sort out Detroit. Delta City. But this entire time, Don. I mean, we'll have the conversation. I think we both know why, but why is Don so angry and infuriated about the Ted Peggy relationship?
Because he's in love with Peggy.
I think purely platonically.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he's very protected.
Exactly. I think it's a father relationship. not in any way to infantilize Peggy. Obviously, she's a strong woman and she's a woman, not a girl. But yeah, no, it is that father-daughter relationship, that mentor-protege relationship. And yeah, I think obviously they have the same relationship, but then you add a sexual element. And I think the minute Don sees that as, well, we can get into Don's sexual politics, but the minute that Don sort of has sex with somebody, I think that's sort of not a complete lack of respect, but it's, you don't have sex with, the people you're working with. And apart from your wife.
Yeah.
I'm marrying Miss Calvé. Who the hell is that? Joan, it's Megan. And then she comes in, hi, she's still on the desk. Great moment. Can you imagine going back to season 4 now and just the happiness of Tomorrowland and just going, oh, it's going to be so wonderful. They're going to be married and everything's going to be wonderful. I mean, we'll get to In Care Of. But yeah, Don is just infantilized, child pose on the couch. You're a monster. Because he had to. So what was his reasoning behind the Gleason, pretending that it was Frank Gleason's final pitch? Is that purely just to cut the Ted and Peggy thing? Stop it right there. This cannot continue.
Mm.
And I think Ted wants him to say that. Ted needs him to say that.
Ted doesn't really know what to do. Ted, well, I mean, as seen with begging to go to California, I think Ted wants to be with his family, and so he goes in there, sort of. The only way that he can himself come to terms with it is for Don to tell him, or of someone else to make that happen. He can't decide for himself.
The California politics of In Care Of, I mean, we'll talk about it in a minute. Incredible stuff. But also, your favourite boy's back, Glenn.
He sure is.
He's still protective, even if he wants to get a handy from the girl from Blockers. Oh, I think it's great. I'm going to get her name. Catherine Newton. She's not just the girl from Blockers. She's the girl from Big Little Lies. That's it. She's Reese Witherspoon's daughter in Big Little Lies. Excellent actress. I have only the best for her. Did you know that they made a 2017 Little Women, a TV series?
Yes. I've not seen it.
No, I haven't seen it. But Catherine Newton as Mandy, who they bring into the fold. You came and you gave without taking. Well, Catherine Newton as I was just going to say, keep saying Catherine Newton, but Rolo versus Glenn. Still clear that Glenn loves Sally, or at least again protects her. Sees her as I think it's growing more into a sister thing now.
It is. He's missed his shot.
I mean, no matter what you say about Glenn, I don't know where he's heard it in 1968, but has definitely heard the advice. Always look to the mother to see what your girlfriend will turn into. Except he's gone the other way, as in, I want to be with the mother, so I'm going to get with the daughter. Incredible game plan by Glenn.
It's the long game. It's the
30-year long game, and he's been playing it since season 1. I have your hair, and touching the gloved hand.
My man.
I know him better than you do. Oh, incredible. The wonderful Glenn Bishop. We've never seen Helen Bishop again. She's never come back. I guess that'd be. I mean, it's not a stretch, but it's always feels like a stretch when we're with Betty now. So I guess going to Helen would feel even more of a stretch. We've never seen. What's she called? The neighbour. Betty's nice neighbour that always joked with her and was nice and funny. Not seen her again.
That's a shame.
Henry, we've not talked about Henry yet. What do you think
I
of Henry?
like Henry a lot.
Yeah.
It's great. Henry's great now. I'm liking them all again. It's good.
This is weird because I've been reading so many reviews, and so many reviews are just like, of this season are, everybody's too repugnant and horrible. I can't watch the show. And I just don't see that I just don't see it. You make, again, that's making out as if everybody was Boy Scouts in season 1, which they obviously weren't. And yeah, I think it is that Megan element. I think people don't want him to cheat on Megan but also that's not how sex addiction works, and that's not how depression works. If you are addicted to sex and depressed and need that intimacy, and also, of course, we find out this season, not only has he had a fucked up childhood, that fucked up childhood includes a rape. His first sexual encounter is rape, and purely transactional, and all the things that come with that. So bring that into it.
That's pedophile, pretty much.
A pedophile rape, yeah. And this is his first relation with sex, a motherly role that's not consensual really, and this is his first relation of sex. And then he gets brutally beaten for it. That might mess you up a little.
Interesting. On a note, I'm jumping the gun, but that's the same episode where we have the burglar.
Yes, it is.
Where we learn about and she got me. She got me. I was thinking.
Oh, did you really think
she is his mum?
Well, this is the thing. For as much as we don't know about Don, they don't know a thing.
Yeah. They because we kept having the flashbacks back to this sort of strange mother guardian figure he had as a child. I'm thinking, oh, is this actually her? Are we seeing distortions of reality? Because it kept flashing back to her, and then her saying, "Yes, I used to look after your dad." I'm thinking, oh, is he remembering her differently? No, she was just after the jewelry.
I think the giveaway for me, I don't want to patronize you, but the giveaway for me is when she goes, "Your daddy, Donald Draper," which she so clearly read off the thing. And obviously she would know him as Dick. And maybe then, but on the first watch, I remember thinking, maybe she was the carer of the real Donald Draper. I thought about that and how that, because obviously we have the glimpse of Betty bringing in Anna. Have you asked your dad about Anna in last season, which Megan just puts a stop on there. So my number 6 was Man with a Plan, which you got higher. Your number 6 was The Quality of Mercy, which I had as one of my cuts. Again, not really a cut. There's no cuts. Which takes us to our midway little rundowns. Season standouts. We've sort of talked about them so far. Sylvia, but for me, more so Arnold. The pain of Arnold, and he never even gets any comeuppance. Maybe Sally will ruin that season 7. You don't know. I was going to say we don't know. You don't know. But Sylvia and Arnold, the Rosens, but I think we can very proudly give it to Bob Benson, unless you have
indeed.
Yeah, unless you have any other nominations.
I mean, of sort of non-prominent. Obviously, Pete is my season standout, and I mean you can chuck Glenn in there as well.
Why not? We always chuck Glenn in there. So let's talk about Pete. I put his best episode this season as In Care Of, the culmination of his mother. However, for immediate release, which we're going to talk about very soon, great stuff in there with his dad. With his father-in-law. Wow, I'm going to talk about that in a moment. What would you say for Pete?
Yeah, no, I've put in Care Of.
For Betty, I've got The Better Half. Great episode for Betty, which we'll talk about again momentarily. That poor girl, she doesn't know that loving you is the worst way to get to you. It's the smartest and the most knowing Betty that we've ever known. and she's witty and she's dry. Are you sure you don't want to just lay together? When Don says that he prefers laying to sex.
Yeah, for some reason I thought they'd already had sex by that point, but no,
No, I think they had.
Oh,
they've had sex, and then they're
day.
in the afterglow, and they're having a conversation, and then round two, ding ding ding. There you You still have used not in an hour and a glass of orange juice. You think my favorite Megan episode I put for immediate release, but I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's when her mother comes to stay and gives her all the sex advice, and she owns her sexiness again. And great episode. But also the collaborators, where she discusses her abortion. Christ, very sad. Which we'll get to again momentarily. Roger, I put The Doorway. Grapes, phenomenal journey for him over that. Joan, as we've talked about, Tale of Two Cities, trying to get into the business. Oh, no, that's a lie. Even if it's for one scene, I'm giving it to for immediate release for her snap at Don after he fires her Brenner, and the jingle of her jewelry, and
again.
And yeah, that you couldn't stand him. I had to take him down. You couldn't stand him. And Don's brutal. Don't you feel 300 pounds lighter? You know, as if just brutal, which we will get to. Peggy, I've got The Quality of Mercy, just her happiness of her and Ted being together, and then that brutal final scene, You're a Monster. Yourself on Peggy?
I'm the same.
Mm-hmm. And then for Don, what have you got for Don?
I've got In Care Of for Don.
I've got In Care Of / The Crash.
Yes.
Two seminal episodes, I feel. We'll get to them. Man with a... Oh, no, we're not talking about Man with a Plan. No. Sorry. Song, best song. So, as always, I've ranked all of them. But before we get to my ranking, what stood out for you this season, Will, when it came to closing songs?
My closing song of the week is There Was Always Something There to remember.
Yeah. I thought you were going to... Well, we'll get to it. So, 8, Porpoise Song by the Monkees. So by the Hollies, sorry. Or is it by the Monkees? Oh, my God. I'm a bad fan. You're a bad fan. Is it the Hollies or the Monkees? Is it the Hollies or the Monkees? It's the Monkees. Porpoise Song. Don in fetal position, followed by There Is Always Something There to Remind Me, caught in the middle, followed by Love Is Blue by Paul Merad, which always amazes me, was one of the biggest hits of the decades. It's a fairly nice song. 5 Words of Love, Mamas and the Papas. Again, this always sounds like Pick the Pops. 5 Words of Love, Mamas and the Papas at the end of the crash, followed by Pete in that doobie.
You've picked a very distinct era of it as well. You've gone further than the Gamba Tubes.
Oh, I've gone for Blackbird. For Piece of My Heart, Pete taking a doobie.
Yeah.
I'm giving up and just give me that. Going and smoking a joint. 3, Hawaiian Wedding Song by Elvis Presley. Beautiful song.
Yes, very good.
And all throughout The Doorway, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is just that thing of when you come back from a holiday and you feel different, and then that's the sound of the sea slowly fades away from you and you're back in reality. And The Doorway does that beautifully. And Hawaiian Wedding Song brings us back. I remind you, gentlemen, this is my job. 2, Both Sides Now. We've not talked about the end of season 6 yet, but wow. Absolutely wow. That will be remind me, that will be something that we do next week. When we do season 7, is our favorite end of season enders. Because
it's a good one, this one.
It's a very good one, and we're going to talk about it.
I hope we're going to talk about it in a bit.
In a bit, okay.
As in a bit, as in not now.
No, not now. Yeah. I've missed one out. Reach Out of the Darkness. A song I've always found a bit annoying, but it perfectly fits the irony and the juxtaposition of Bobby Kennedy being shot. Yeah. And I think it's so good now. Followed by Both Sides Now. And perhaps a niche one, but my favorite closing song of the season is Bing Crosby singing Just a Gigolo at the end of The Collaborators.
Yes.
Don just falling flat outside his door. He can't do it anymore. And Just a Gigolo plays. I immediately think of season 2, the end of the Bobby Barrett affair, when she revealed that I want to get the Don Draper treatment. People talk about this all the time, and he doesn't like that. And yeah, he's just a gigolo. You know, as much as he gets hard and he likes the thing of Sylvia, it was very crude, pardon me. As long as much as he gets hot and feels great about Sylvia saying, "I need you and nothing else will do," that's really great for him. At the end of the day, you know, just drop. A great gift that I can now start sending you is Julia Armand opening wine. And also, again, we don't need to get into a long conversation about our own sexual politics. I do not think, obviously we don't moan as men. Or no, we grunt or whatever.
I moan a lot. What about? I thought you meant in life. I'm always moan.
But let's say that women's moans are usually louder if things are going well. Or they're fake, or they're lying. Savage continues eating pastrami. But Meghan is very, very loud to say that her mother is next door.
She's French.
Well, there we go. She is French, and she is like, "You want him to wear that nice dress and only." So I think she's trying to let her mother know. It works.
Thank you.
I need to get my mum an aspirin. I don't care. Good. There is something. I think this is what people don't understand about romance films. Obviously, this is a bit more realistic. But the joy of the rom-com and the erotic thriller and the romance film sometimes is just watching two incredibly attractive people kiss and have fake sex and fall in love. There is just a great thing.
Sure.
By this time, release, hopefully I've seen it. They've already split up since, but Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas in Deep Water. I'm so excited. Adrian Lynn's directing it. The erotic thriller's back.
Would we have seen James Bond by now?
I think yes, unless it gets bumped again. Oh no. Oh no.
Wait, it depends where you are. If you were, will you? No, you'll be down again. I'd offer to watch it with you, but I know you're very particular about screenings.
No, I love seeing. Maybe with my ex, she was very quiet and it was very nice. I've never had. We had great. We would go to the movies all the time, just like Don and Meghan, and now Don sits and watches them alone because he hasn't got anybody, and he goes to the cinema in the middle of the day, and Don sits there. I do stand by. Maybe I'm definitely not as handsome as John Hamm, and I'm definitely not as charismatic. But when it comes to feeling calm in the ocean and the sun and going to movies in the middle of the day as a way of escape, I am Don Draper. And also when it comes to being horribly stubborn and quiet and too smart for my own good in arguments. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible man when it comes to arguments. Unless I'm crying.
Go to the movie.
Let's go to the movie. Annie, 1982, incredible masterpiece. Love Annie, 1982, actually. Unironically, completely great. Season 6. Will, what did you have an episode? No, we'll talk about this now. It was one of your cuts. My episode 5 is The Collaborators.
Interesting.
Which is the John Hamm directed Just a Gigolo episode.
Yes.
You want to feel shitty right up until I'm taking your dress off. I mean, an iconic moment. Yeah, and it gives us a bit of life.
I just really like you were doing the dinner. They're at dinner, and he's saying, "Order me food." Yeah, yeah.
And I don't like that you're happy that you're making them look foolish. And yeah, and then they go to the maid's room. Is this? I'm gonna get confused. But the two big. It's the doorway. The doorway. They have sex, and he says, "What do you pray for?" Oh, sorry. What do you want in the new year? And he goes, "For this to stop." And then later, he asks her, "What do you pray for?" And she says, "For you to find peace." And even if it is just sex, we can't fall in love. It would be so much less French. I think just the three strands of this episode are great. I think the Don and Sylvia learning about that and learning their dynamic. And yeah, you want to feel you get off on the fact that this is dirty. You get off on the fact that this is immoral. This is against your God or whatever. You like that you feel bad about this and all of that element. And again, the show does this a lot of we forget that not everybody in the world is John Hamm, not everybody in the world is Don Draper. In this episode, we also get Pete having a little affair. And what happens with that? She's yours now, Campbell. And the blonde woman who wants more, her name is, let me get that for you now. Or not, maybe I won't. Yes, Katie. Yeah, oh no, that's the other woman who's trying to. Oh, there we are. Colette Wolfe playing Brenda, who was in Hot Tub Time Machine. But
Hey,
Chevy, John Cusack. Their dynamic, and yeah, battered wife coming home after it gets revealed, and Trudy and Pete, yeah, having that argument with Trudy finally kicking him out. Where do we like? What's our Trudy stance? I don't think we've had a major Trudy conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could see it coming. I'm upset because they were nice, but you can't blame her, can you?
No, you can't. And also, it's that thing of she was fine with him having affairs. You don't shit where you eat, and it's I gave you the apartment, and you still went with the next door neighbor. You're doing this now not for your own gratification, not for your own release. You're doing it to embarrass me. And obviously, having his own apartment is ideal for him moving out and moving his mother in. But also this episode, yeah, we have Megan discussing her I said abortion earlier. I didn't mean it. I meant miscarriage.
Yes.
It was an abortion, Michael. It wasn't a miscarriage. Oh, Michael, you are blind. The Sicilian thing. This is the part where you have to stop me, Will, so I don't just do the whole Casey.
Where my wife sleeps.
They were their toys. Michael, we're bigger than US Steel. I didn't cry.
It's a good film, isn't it?
But yes, the miscarriage. And yeah, how fucking cruel Sylvia is to her. And how these both Don and Sylvia are horrible in these couple of episodes, because obviously the next episode is Don, you kiss people for money. Do you know who does that? When it is so clearly professional and there's nothing there, and he just won't allow it.
Yeah, that did annoy me, because I didn't think he would be that sort of person, because obviously he turned up on set and watched the whole thing and then had a massive go at her.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. Yeah.
Well, it starts off with the best thing you could possibly get out of a guy like that in 1968, which is, I can tolerate it, but I won't encourage it. Because he's not going to say, yeah, kiss whoever you want.
Yeah.
But I do think that's, again, I don't want to give Don big pats on the back for tolerating his wife's work, but that is the sort of best thing that you could possibly get out of somebody at that time. And then the Peggy, or the whole Peggy pitch happens, and he's fueled by anger now. And it has to be done. And then he goes to his other thought, his two modes of release, sex and anger. Because if he doesn't have those two modes of release, then he just drinks and keeps it all in, and he crumbles, as we see in Care Of.
Yes.
And The Quality of Mercy. The man has three modes and can't go cold turkey, as we find out in Care Of. I don't know if I'll ever see you again. We'll get there. That was the collaborators. Will, your number 5?
My number 5 is Man with a Plan.
Man with a Plan. Okay, so not that big a leap.
Yeah.
I did 6. That can be a nice little 5, I feel. Man, I'll give you. You know what? We'll lock that in now at 5.
Hey, I think that's the first time you've ever done that for me.
Yeah. Okay. I'll rewatch all the episodes. Man with a Plan, directed by John Slattery. Linda Cardellini was nominated for pardon me, an Emmy for her performance in this episode. It's the Crawl on Your Knees episode, and it's the sexual games episode, and all that comes of that.
Of course, John Slattery directed this.
John Slattery, you dog. I'm gonna. You know what I really want to watch, which I haven't watched yet, is his movie God's Pocket. He directed a full film,
right,
and it was Philip Seymour Hoffman's last film, actually, and it got pretty good reviews. I'm gonna find it out and watch it. Also, in the background of all of this, the two films merge, and so everybody's trying to find their place. Everybody's trying to find everything. But there's all that turbulence happening, and this is the first sign of what's to come when it comes to Cutler, Gleason, and Shaw. Because where's Dom? He disappears for long hours out of the day. Oh yeah, this is just something he does. Yeah, and they're on about margarine, and they're like, okay.
To stop you there, I'd say a good 30 minutes of the episode, I thought they were on about someone called Margarine, because obviously we call it properly margarine, and they were
so you thought they were saying that somebody called Margarine is nice, cuts easy, and tastes nice, and is cheap. Who the bloody hell do you think they're talking about?
I thought they were about someone called Margarine.
Margarine. Megan's mother, Margarine Calvé. We didn't talk about in collaborators. Julia Armand at the dinner. Who is this idiot? Mother. Wait, no, is that collaborators, or is that that's for immediate release? We'll be talking about that very soon. Man with a Plan. They're sex games. I know the exact point that Don goes wrong.
When he buys the dress.
No, that's nice.
Oh, okay. I want to keep playing this. This is fun. This is our own
sex game.
It's
not the dress. The dress is nice.
It's when he tells her to take it off.
No, I think I think that's sexy. I think. Is it
before this, or
it's him. I'll just say, it's him taking the book. Give her something. She's more than fine to be your sex slave for the day. She's clearly into it. She likes the idea. It's sexy for them both. But leave her the book. She's allowed to just let her read whilst you disappear for 2 hours and then come back.
Yeah, I couldn't just lay there for 2 hours. I'd have to. Well, I'd be on Netflix. But
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah, why
yeah.
doesn't she just get a phone out? Um, just give her the book. And also, The
Actually,
Last Picture Show,
she could
great
order room
book.
service.
Say it again.
As she got a purse with her, she could have ordered a nice drink or some room service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just she's clearly fine being your sex slave for the day. This is just the fun, sexy game that you're playing. Just let her read. And then that and also, you know what the most important word of this episode is, Will?
What?
Starts with a P. Please.
Please.
When Sylvia is leaving Don, and he goes,
Yeah.
please. This is the first, excluding Betty.
When the subdom flips.
Yes. Will our BDSM expert? I was reading an article, and people always think that the Dom's in control. The Dom doesn't have a safe word. The sub has a safe word. It's the sub that's in control, or at least in a healthy BDSM dynamic.
Yeah.
Which you shouldn't be experimenting. If it's not healthy and there's no safe words and there's no trust, you shouldn't be doing it. But in a proper, healthy way of doing it, it's the sub that's completely in control.
This is
something
thing
that Don doesn't know.
In Christian Grey's case, and I think I thought in Don's case, because of obviously what we saw happen to him as a child, most Doms start off as someone's sub, and it's them reclaiming that power. They're making someone else there. So that's yeah.
But then also in season 4, when Don hires a prostitute, I know what you want. Then do it. Slap harder. Slap. He likes to get messed about, and I can hear somebody walking past my corridor, and all they heard is me loudly going slap, slap. In some dumb relationships. Don the Dom. Dom the Dom. Yeah, and this obviously culminates in that great moment with Pete's dementiated mother. They killed the Kennedy boy. That was years ago, mother. And when you hear it, you go, "Oh yeah, oh she's got dementia." Wait.
No, I win. I knew it was about Bobby.
Yeah, so did I, Will. I was just trying to be nice. It's just evil. Even if you don't get it or you do get it, great, Bobby.
Yeah.
And also, it sort of breaks the pattern. MLK got his whole episode. Obviously, JFK got his own episode. It sort of shows how in 1968 things sort of became blasé. It's a bit like people talk about this. There's the great South Park school shooting episode, and it's just like they walk past a school, bang, 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 and they're like, "Oh, there's another school shooting." Oh, okay. And nobody cares because these things just happen all the time.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Don't get me started on American school. They need to sort themselves out.
But the Don shrinking at the side of the bed obviously is deeply affected by the Sylvia thing, but the fact that there's just no reaction at all just shows the scariness of when you are fully desensitized to violence. Anything left to say about Man with a Plan, Will?
Very nice.
I think it's so groovy now. The people are finally get together.
I've got one more thing to say. In the doorway, that's yeah. I like the reveal that because we first meet them and he's reading his book on the beach and he's
Dante
mesmerized by this book and she's asking a question. He's like, "No, I'm reading my book." Whose book is that, Tom? Whose book is that?
Sylvia's book.
I liked that.
It also is the same reveal in season 2 of who is he sending this book to? And then it's just Anna. And she says, "Yeah, no, I read it. It was lovely." Anna. Rest in peace, Anna. Rest in peace, Lane. The fact that we lost Lane and Anna back to back is brutal. And then we lost Pete's mother at sea. Terrible. Terrible thing. Well, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is one that you had lower down, I believe. It is The Better Half.
It was one of my cuts, Will. Again, not a cut at all. The worst episodes of these shows are the best. Some of the best, still some of the best TV I've ever seen. Don and Betty, let's get it on.
Yes, and this is Planet of the Apes as well.
No. It's Planet of the Apes again.
Yes.
With Roger. Don took his kid. Oh, Father of the Year, Don Draper.
Yeah.
It's Roger trying to be. Well, let's start with Roger. Trying to be a better man. Put on Emery. I'll do the Professor. Are you a Planet of the Apes fan, Will? Original 1968 Planet of the Apes.
I am. Is that the one that has the weird twist though, at the end? I mean, they all have a weird twist. One of them is where it was all a dream.
Original 1968 Planet of the Apes, written by Rod Serling, is the reveal on the beach of the Statue of Liberty. You blew it up.
That's excellent. Yeah, I like all of the Apes movies. I think I just love the concept. I think it's really cool.
Do you, other than Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes?
I mean, we like Mark. I watch Big Mark's in.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark Wahlberg. It's my big dick. I want to shoot now.
I haven't seen War.
I thought War was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I perfectly enjoyed War. We took my granddad, and he had unfortunately dementia, and he had no idea what was happening. It was like apes. So that was quite. Yeah. And we all had a fine time, and also we came too late. So it was the classic thing of sitting too close and cricking of the neck.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible. A lovely day.
I think my favourite sort of futuristic ape movie though has got to be the Guy Pearce remake of The Time Machine.
I'm going to say Every Which Way But Loose. My favourite futuristic ape movie. What's the game? Seven Sons. So we open.
We're all so happy together. We're a family.
Almost like they're a family. So we start off. Betty's slim, and you're like, oh, Betty's back. All that dieting worked out for her. She's finally got rid of that bloody atrocious Elizabeth Taylor hair that Henry's nice about. Liz Taylor, what did you do to my wife? Yeah, sure, Henry, sure. We have that great moment at the start where the guy hits on Betty, and whereas earlier with Don and Betty's relationship, a guy hitting on Betty, Don would just get angry at her. That turns Henry on. I've got you and nobody else has. And they have sex in the back of the limo. And but obviously, the peak of this episode is coming to camp. Don lectures on Betty with the gas attendant. Who's that beautiful woman?
I loved that. And then
it's my ex-wife.
He should have said that.
Instead, he does it like the Italian thing again of, I'm going to pretend as if I'm the best man in the world and I can pick any woman up I could ever dream of. Go get us some gas. What was going through your mind, Will? What did you? Were you rooting for a kiss? Were you?
Yeah, I was. I wanted the whole hog,
and they got it twice. What are you waiting for? I'm waiting for you to stop me. They do. I mean, maybe it's because there's a full writers' room, and maybe it's because John Hamm's delivering it, but you just can't help but just swoon. I can't even imagine actually being sexually attracted to John Hamm and Don Draper in this. I mean, Jesus Christ, changes of pants every time. But the better half, excellent episode. As we talked about, great Betty.
Yeah. I found an IMDb review. This episode titled "Pass Me the Soap." Help! Mad Men is turning into a soap opera. This season has on the one hand retained some of the quality of the previous seasons, but I can't help but get the feeling that the writers are running out of good ideas, and some of the main characters' storylines are exhausted. This is something that eventually happens with all series. I feel like the writers would be wise to call it quits after this season. Every new development seems like a repetition of something we've already seen before, only in a new setting. The writers would have to make some rigorous changes, like in season 4, when Don was living alone and passing out in the hallway of his apartment all the time. But then what would maybe
You did that once. You did that one time.
But then what would maybe seem forced after all of the other characters have been through, the plot would become more and more implausible. But something has to change for the series, not to sink deeper into the drift that it's gotten stuck in. 27 out of 45 people found that really helpful. Yeah.
And then there's a 9 out of 10. A quite interesting episode with a lot going on. But even the soap opera elements, I guess it is a bit soapy. He's gone back to they're having one, but also it's just so realistic and so well written and so well acted and so well directed that you just never consider it. Yeah. When I try and sell people, I always say there's no big murder plots. Don't be expecting, because also, you go back to season 1, Will, I don't know what you were expecting, but I think everybody goes through a period of about 6 episodes or so where they realize, there's not going to be a different. With the second episode ever, Ladies' Room, that was the whole idea, was that they weren't going to talk about a single product because Matthew Weiner didn't want people to think it was going to be not like Columbo, but every episode would be a different pitch.
Yeah.
And every episode, now we're doing Coca-Cola,
but Columbo's great.
Columbo is great.
Columbo is one of the great. We should do Columbo. Columbo is the greatest things of all.
People always forget that Columbo isn't just 145-minute episodes. It's like they would make a feature-length movie every couple of months, and then and again Peter Falk would want to make an experimental movie with John Cassavetes, and so he'd need more money about depression and like a woman's struggle, and so he'd be like, I'll do another Columbo.
Yeah.
And then they do 3 Columbos, and then you get to make his experimental.
Those strange, really late on Columbos,
where he's
really old. But the one that springs to mind is the one with the fish tank in the floor. And it's just
Billy Connolly one.
Oh, that's great. But the one with the fish tank, it's like this 90s disco, and it's all these modern sort of 90s kids with the flares, and it's all really modern. It's got Columbo.
The final episode of all time of Columbo is 2003, and it's called Columbo Likes the Nightlife.
That might be it.
I think Columbo gets a taste. Sorry, real thing that got written by somebody with a straight face. Columbo gets a taste of the Los Angeles rave scene as he investigates the apparent suicide of a tabloid reporter. 2003 is your final episode. Your first episode was 1971, called Ransom for a Dead Man.
Wow.
We love Peter Falk, and we love Columbo.
Is Billy Connolly the music one?
Billy Connolly is the music. I intend to be music.
I see. You're up on your
Columbo.
I'm proven I'm a good fan.
Die hard Columbo. That was the better half. My number 4 is your number 7. It's The Doorway, part 1, part 2. Something that we haven't talked about yet. We open in Hawaii, and in typical Mad Men fashion, there's no grand exposition. We just have to struggle along. And so we find out slowly, they're here because they're going to do this hotel pitch. They've gotten a free weekend. We find out that Megan has managed to get a soap opera role. And then we have this great scene with this Vietnam guy. And he says, I want you to give my wife away. And Megan comes down and sees Don giving away this woman. And then they go back to New York, and they try to keep the afterglow going, but you just can't.
Well, you've skipped out the best bit, which is where she goes up on stage, and the Butlins guys there like, hey, this is just my job.
Gentlemen, remember, this is my job. Very good. yeah, that all of that Hawaii stuff, great. Also, I feel like this entire time, obviously the LA thing changes and flips on its head over 20 minutes, but it does feel like we're building up to, we're going to finally give Don LA. He knows how happy he is in the sun. We have the Tale of Two Cities where he's happy again. He's going to take Megan out. Obviously, it's going to be great for her acting career being out there. And then, no, he puts somebody else in front of him, and that may, ruin his marriage. We don't end this season in a good place with Megan.
I made the mistake of looking at the IMDb page for Sylvia, and it just said first appearance, last appearance. So I know that she is in the next series. So.
You do know that.
But is it one of those last appearances in she just does a little cameo hello on an episode?
Ruined it for yourself. But they're just, you can obviously you forget about her. Yeah. And then there's a great elevator moment of, oh yeah, you're still in the same building. Anyway, you'll see it. Season 7. I have an appointment, not an appointment, but we will continue. But I'll pick up the pace on the doorway. Just probably maybe the best season opener.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
Concise, so brilliant. The death motif, very deep and very effective. Roger's journey, coming to the funeral with his wife. This is my funeral. I mean, come on. Don throwing up, yeah. It's just a bad sign of things to come. Just a bleak episode, bringing us back into the world, and then that final kicker of Arnold Rosen. But also, let's talk about Betty and Henry and the cello. And and
she goes around and cooks a lovely
it's a lovely goulash. I just love that she's not affected in the slightest. It would be so easily to do it as, oh my God, they're all poor. Oh. But no, it's so pitch perfect for her to just not care. These are kids. And where's this? This is a violin of somebody I know. And they all just think she's a mother who's lost her kid to the Greenwich Village and lost her kid to the 60s and all that. No, I just think it's an absolute knockout 90 minutes. Just absolutely transcendent piece of work. Glorious stuff. You've got it at 7, I've got it at 4. We'll see what happens. Will stay with me. My number 3, your number 9 for immediate release. Big episode. Again, it just feels jam-packed to me. It just feels like not that they're wasting storylines, but it just feels like, yeah, okay, we'll put the 3 of the biggest plot lines of the season in this one. The merger, Pete coming face to face with his father-in-law at the brothel. Don getting rid of Chevy and getting rid of Herb Bennett, and Joan being obviously completely angry with that, but Roger managing to bring Chevy in. Just a great episode. What did you like this episode for?
Well, not much because it was low down for me.
That's true.
No, I can't really remember a lot that happened, but it was good. It was good.
Well, this is the thing. They're all good. That I just don't see. Is there any of these that you would say are bad?
Oh no, I wouldn't call an episode bad. Some I remember more than others.
Yeah. It's not like an Inside Number 9 or a Friends or whatever, where of course every episode has its own themes and its own stories, but in some ways, they do sort of blend together, which is also isn't a disadvantage in the slightest, because it just shows how cohesive and how tight they create a season, and it builds and it builds and it builds until you break down in the middle of a pitch for Hershey's and confess that you were born in a brothel. You ate a chocolate bar. Wow. Because you stole money from pockets of people having prostitute sex. Incredible. Were you, I just feel bad for Peggy. All she wants is to be away from Don and make her, not necessarily be away from Don, but all she wants is to make her own name. And
now she's back.
That great moment of him sat on the couch and coming in and she doesn't see him and they boarded in the room and what are you doing here? And she has to make for an immediate release.
Yeah.
And that's big turning point. Thank God we got rid of her Brennan. I know that we don't, obviously Joan's been through a lot, but I loved seeing Don kick Herb to the curb. Really enjoyed it, and of course that's bad for Joan because maybe perhaps this jeopardizes her partnership, but the bastard deserved it. Will, what was your number 3?
My number 3, I've got the Flood.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Again, not. I had it at 9 on a list of best episodes of TV. There was one from here and one from another. Probably be pretty high on there too.
This is the other Planet of the Apes episode.
Yes, but for me, this is the Planet of the Apes episode.
Okay.
Sorry. Phenomenal work. The death of Martin Luther King. They're at the advertising awards. Let's give a big shout out to William Mapother, who plays the role of Randall Walsh, who is visited by the ghost of Martin Luther King. Wow, great scene. Again, that sort of dark comedy that they're used to. I also love how that character's set up. He's a bit of a nut. Everybody meeting each other again at the art party. Everything's going great. And then Paul Newman's there. Paul Newman, real thing. Yeah. That was really Paul. Yeah, not really Paul Newman.
Actually, Paul Newman. Oh.
No, obviously not, because he's been dead for 5 years at this point. But that really did happen the way it did.
Oh wow.
Paul Newman was there, and he did express his support for the presidential candidate Eugene McCarthy. No, Planet of the Apes. Yeah, takes his son. They're going to go to Megan's going to take the girls to a vigil. I say girls, I mean Sally and Jean. They're going to take him to a vigil. But for me, this episode is all culminating in that glorious, heartbreaking scene of Don confessing his love for his children.
Yeah. It's it's a very atmospheric episode, which is why I like it. Yeah.
It's reminiscent of the JFK, the Grown Ups episode, season 2. This
is the best assassination episode they've done.
Over Grown Ups,
which is Grown Ups JFK.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a fan of the JFK one.
Not even with the Roger's daughter's wedding.
Yeah, that was fine. Yeah. I think I put it mid. But,
yeah. I'll tell you where you put it, Will. You put it. I had it at. Oh, it's season 3, isn't it? Fake fan, look at me. I had it at number 2, and you had it at number 6. And it ended
I was spot on.
And you won because you had it at it ended up at number 6. So I don't know in what world I gave. Because I out of town, which was your number 1. I had to leverage. And knock down. It's all about leverage.
It is.
No, the Flood, glorious episode. Now, here we go. Will, what's your number 2?
In Care Of.
Hey!
We did it. Hey!
We did it. We've done
3. We've done 3.
Oh no, we did 3 officials. 3 officials, and then okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. In Care of. Absolutely incredible episode. This is where I grew up. Is there a more touching line delivery and that look from Sally?
That look from Sally means everything.
And, okay, I get it. I don't think you should cheat on your wife, but
yeah,
I understand. This is a terrible neighborhood. The little black kids eating the lolly and just, Bobby, this is a bad neighborhood. Why are we here? And
nice house. I mean, if it was done up and in a nice area, nice house.
Lovely little seed planting of that. We obviously have never seen the outside of the brothel.
Yes.
So they have to show it earlier in the season. Nice little seeding. And the California politics. I love the happiness of Don and Megan of, okay, we'll go to California and we'll start again. Obviously, from season 2, we've talked about how Don should just get to California. This is where he's happiest. Obviously, moving to California is not going to solve everything, but it could do something. However, and then he gives it to Ted. Obviously, he kicks Stan to the curb after Stan gives him the idea. And no, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go to LA. Megan quits her job. I don't even know why we're trying anymore. We don't have kids. I always used to pity those kids, and now I realize we're in the same boat. If you're a gambling man, Will, because this is the finale, we're going to go back to the crash in a minute. What are you thinking is the state of things in season 7?
Well, I think I've just witnessed the end of their loving relationship. I think we're Don and Betty series 2 trying to make things work. It's not going to work.
Always season 3. However, the big thing of this is Don breaking down in the Hershey's. Obviously, this entire season we've been, going back to what made Don Don, and the culmination of that is I can't lie anymore. And you have no idea how much your chocolate actually means to me.
And I don't know why they let him go for that, and they're all pissed off, and they were like, "Why'd you say that? Stupid." I would have been like, "Oh, thank you very much. That clearly means a lot, and I'm pleasure doing business. Thank you."
I think it's just the level of deep-rooted confusion of, he does the whole every candy bar tells a story, and then he does the brothel story, and then he goes, and this is the story. This is one of the stories you want to tell. Like this, it's just confusion. Gets me right in my gut, this episode.
Is it Roger saying to him, how much of that was, none of that was actually true? And says, yes, it was.
No, I think there's a little moment of a wink there. Bert Cooper.
Yeah, at the lift.
No. Bert as in Schuler's Bert. Is it Schuler's Bert Cooper?
I apologize.
Yeah, it's not a trial. We've reached a verdict.
Yes. They've all.
And obviously, Joan wants him gone because of all this shit with Herb.
Yeah, that little look to Joan, and she's like, "Sorry."
And Jim doesn't like him because he's like, "Why do we mess around with this guy?" Yeah, he comes up with a few good. Oh, sorry, we did talk about the best part of the doorway, which sets us up for the entire season, which is the suicide pitch. And it's not. Maybe I'm naive. To me, I get sucked in every time, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a great pitch." But yeah, it does look like A Star Is Born, the original Star Is Born with James Mason. It does look like he's going into the sea to kill himself, and it's that glimpse of maybe Don's losing his magic. Darby, what a man. But yeah, in Care of. And then at the elevators, Doug Phillips is back, and he's now a headhunter. You're early. Going down.
Oh.
And Peggy ends up mirroring. Yes, well,
I liked the ending. I think that it's a nice classic elevator closing on the face, but it was clearly closed too quickly. That wasn't a real elevator. There was two guys pushing it. Like, yes, really slowly. I want the elevators to shut at a normal elevator pace. I know you're marking the moment, but don't milk it.
Okay, there you go. Will's elevator talk. Anything left to say about In Care of, Will?
No.
No, which leads us to our favourite episode of season 6. It's a bit of a Marmite episode, actually, in the community. Some people hate it, and I just don't know why. It's The Crash.
It very much appeals to me because I'm really into avant-garde, non-linear stuff. But this, I think that's a non-linear is a good way because everything is told at different chronologies.
Yes. We've seen them play with time before. Faraway Places, our other favorite episode. In many ways, this to me feels like another Faraway Places in that it's the weirdest, quote unquote, bizarrest stories being told. Obviously, the black burglar and the mole and the kids, that's a bizarre story.
Yeah.
Already already Ken crashing and having his goddamn cane. And
then he dancing about.
Dancing on his cane. I have to be in the room. They have to hear the timbre of my voice. John Hamm is absolutely incredible in this episode. Yeah, but the days passing by and the goal and it's sunny and then it's dark and then Ginsberg who's sober. Have any of you done any work to this? Have any of you done any work? And this is when we learn about the rave and flashing back to that and how that little beauty spot and he that's such a core moment for him. He put it into his work. I genuinely believe it to be a complete masterpiece of television. Stan confessing to Peggy about his friend in Vietnam who died. Obviously, the sailor that came to the Zooby Zooby Zoo party. We should say why they're all crazy. It's Jim Cutler's brought in some coke.
Yeah.
This is apparently what JFK did. JFK used to do this all the time because of his back, and it would get said that they need to give him a pain shot for his back. It was just speed. It was just speed, and Don is out of his mind, and then obviously finally drops. And Sally, and then I realized I don't know anything about you. And obviously that pays off incredibly in the final episode. What did you think of the final line? Is it too cute? Every time this place gets a car, it turns into a whorehouse. I think it's just obvious enough and just on the nose enough for this episode. I think this episode is a bit more, obviously, Don listening at Sylvia's door, and the song is I think I'm going out of my head over you. Again, a bit on the nose, but for this episode of such high emotions and pure adrenaline, I think it works exceptionally well. Why did you like The Crash one? Why is it your favorite episode of season 6?
I liked the style, first of all. It was very nice. But I think that every story that was told, regardless of its context, was very, very good.
It's just a knockout.
Good acting as well. Very good acting.
Yes. Great episode. I'm proud to call it our top of season 6, which takes us into our rankings. The Crash is a lock. In Care of is a lock. Next, we have the immediate release going up against The Flood. I'm going to speak for the community. I think For Immediate Release deserves to be number 3.
No. All I remember from immediate release is conversation between Don and Ted going on for too long about, we're at the same place. Let's just merge. And then Peggy typing. That's it. That's all I remember. It's a setup episode for a more exciting episode.
So you don't remember your father was with a 200 Negro prostitute? Does that not ring a bell?
No. I mean, it does.
Fine, I've locked it in. The Crash, In Care of, The Flood, For Immediate Release, Man with a Plan, which means that you definitely now give me Doorway collaborators.
Okay.
Doorway collaborators, which means that you then get The Better Half and Quality of Mercy, which gives us our season 6 rankings. We have lost A Tale of Two Cities and To Have and To Hold. And here is our 10-1. Quality of Mercy, The Better Half, Favours, Collaborators, The Doorway, Part 1 and Part 2, Man with a Plan, For Immediate Release, The Flood, In Care of, The Crash. It's broken. How can you tell that? Glorious. Glorious stuff. Well, you've got now, I'm going to set 2 timers. You're going to talk for a minute about what you want. No, sorry. You're going to talk for a minute now about what you think will happen in the final season of Mad Men.
Yeah.
And then you're going to talk for a minute about what you hope will happen. Your minute about what you think will happen starts now.
What I think will happen, I think he will have another marriage breakdown. And I think he will end up all on his own again. And I think the final episode is going to be either him going up to someone and saying, "Hey, who are you?" And he's going to go, "My name is Dick Whitman," or he's going to reinvent himself again. And he's going to go, "I'm Terry Smith." I think that's going to happen. I also think Cooper is going to die. I think Roger and Jane. No.
Jane or Joan?
Joan. Roger and Joan will have a happy family together.
5, 4, 3, 2. I felt some of your hopes coming through there, Will, because your Roger and Joan is a big hope that you've wanted since day one. Red.
Will, can I? Anything that I mentioned just then? Does any of that?
I will tell you now that I won't say whether it's one, whether it's more, but one of the things you said does happen. A minute now, Will, on what would be your perfect ending? What would be your remove all depression? What is your ideal happy endings for everybody? Do you want people to have happy endings?
I want Pete and Peggy to finally have the loving relationship together that they deserve.
Wow.
I want them to find their child and move in a house and then become bakers and own a little business. I think Duck Phillips would kill himself.
Oh God. That's what you want to happen. All he did was leave the dog outside.
Yeah. All he did. I think. I'm sorry. I want Megan and Betty to have a big standoff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want that to happen. I want Betty's Henry to rise up in power, and then a big decision regarding that has to be made, and then she leaves him and joins Don at the beach. I want Glenn to marry Sally.
Marry Betty.
Yeah, I want Glenn and Sally to happen, or them to confront their feelings, and confirm what it is actually they're feeling, whether it is brother and sister or a love. I want what else do I want? Who else is in Mad Men?
Bob Benson. What do you think is going to happen with Bob?
This is a thing that I want, but I'm worried about Bob because he's so happy and everything's so good with Bob. This is Mad Men. You don't get to be happy on Mad Men. That's in the contract.
I don't think you get to be happy in life. I think that's the point.
That's very true.
And sometimes you get that little bit of happiness. Well, it's been a pleasure. This is great.
Any of those things, do they happen?
I can't remember. Some of them, there are things in there that we're getting. Well, you'll see. Season 7, obviously, season 7 is actually 2 seasons. It is season 7, but it was 7 episodes, a year break, I believe, and then another 7 episodes. So it does feel like 2 seasons.
More to watch.
No, just one more. It's just 14 episodes.
Okay.
You said that you watched. You said that you rewatched this anyway. The moral of the story is that it does feel like 2 seasons. So I don't know how we'll tackle it, but we will tackle it as just 14 episodes straight through. Well, farewell, season 6, season 7 next week.
Yes.
Mad Men. Will, look at me. This is where I grew up.
Going down.
Dabba 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 da da ba 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 ba